right? Quickly, we realized that the entrepreneur was an entire person. So we talk about faith, we talk about finances, we talk about the future, and we talk about family and relationship. Today is the second Monday of the month, and we're doing it two times in a row. The money making Monday chicks are with me today, and you already know how it goes when they're in the room. We are getting educated as also we are entertaining you all. So we are edutaining, edutaining you all. So I'm so excited about the show today. We're going to do a special show that pays tributes to mothers, our mothers, your mothers, everybody's mothers. So what we're going to do is talk about things our mothers taught us. Things our mothers taught us. So we're going to go through talking about lessons that we learned, we're going to talk about sayings that were said around us and that we learned. We're going to talk about tables turned, talk about what our parents did for us that on the empire we in turn started doing for them or had the responsibility to do for them. And then last but not least, we're going to pay tribute to our parents. So with me in the house, I have my Money Making Monday ladies, but before I jump into the show and before I introduce them, y'all see my background look a little too teeny bit different, right? The girl is on remote in Orlando, Florida. Came down here with my cousin to the Maxwell show, and I'm going to just call it the Maxwell experience. So you have to tune in next week for some videos and some pictures. Oh my God, Joe was there. He was the opening act. Love Joe. Joe got me through grad school. And then we talking about Anthony Hamilton. You talking about rocker show and rocker hat. My man Anthony Hamilton cut up, but Maxwell. I'm gonna leave it like that. Next week, I got some footage. We got some pictures. I'm like just fresh in from the pool, taking a shower. So this is a very exciting trip for me, but I couldn't miss the episode with my ladies, and I couldn't miss the episode of honoring mothers. So, Shanae, let's start with you. Tell everyone who you are and what you do.
I make sure to help people get back on the right financial foot and also build that financial blueprint to get them to their goals and their dreams.
Absolutely. You got to say in a nutshell. You
In
got
a
to follow
nutshell.
suit with Chanel. You know we're a team together. We work in unison in a nutshell. And last but certainly not least, we have the Janice Bowles. Janice, who you are and what you do and your nickname.
Well, the nickname, we'll pass on that. But hello, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. My name is Janice Bowles. I am co founder of B Premier Ventures, where we buy and beautify. We are a real estate development company here in Fredericksburg, Virginia, where we buy distressed properties, we buy land, we subdivide land, we flip homes, and renovate and resell for profit. I'm also a licensed realtor. So I'm all things real estate, and I just love what I do. Love to help people get set up and strategize for their generational wealth in real estate. So, in a nutshell, that's what I do.
There you go. In a nutshell. In a nutshell. So yesterday was Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to the mothers on the line. Happy Mother's Day to the mother figures as well. Always an exciting day. You know, we got Christmas, we got Easter, and then there's Mother's Day. So yesterday was a serious holiday, right? Right, ladies? Right?
Yes.
So let's jump in, and we're going to have some fun on the show today, but we're also going to do a little bit of pay a tribute to our parents and some of the things that we learned along the way as we were growing up. And as I mentioned on my post, some of them that we may still do, and some of them we may have infused in our children as well. So I want to first talk into lessons learned, right? Let's talk about lessons learned, and then also, you ladies, be preparing for your sayings that was said. That's going to be the hilarious part. So let's start off with the seriousness of the lessons learned, and I'll kick it off. There were two very critical lessons that my mother taught me. Number one was prayer and praying. My mother and anybody who knew my mother, every day at 7 p.m. was prayer time, regardless of what, who, when, why, or what have you. And then after that, it was family prayer time. So we knew we had to be in the house. We knew we had to be in position. But even as little kids, like we graduated from the Lord's Prayer and the 23rd Psalm when we were like 5 years old. We were the 91 song, that was our song. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High, and several other. We really studied the Bible as kids, and while now I'm so connected to King James Version. I do read some of the other versions, but people be like, why do you read King James Version? That's what I grew up on. I like NIV. I like Messenger. Me and my friends joke around, call that the ghetto version because it break it down real good. And it'd be like, look, home girl, Jesus told you don't do, why you do that? So anyway, that is my foundation. And I'm so grateful and thankful for it. When we were younger, I didn't understand it. We had to catch the bus to Sunday school. Our friends wouldn't even be woke because my mother let us go out. We went to the Go-Go's at night, but we had to get up in the morning. We would take a little sleep on the bus, and we would be each other's buddy partner. Like, girl, you gotta get ready, get up. You got a couple more minutes. So grateful and thankful for my mom imparting that in me and helping me to grow even to where I am now, always knowing the importance. And then the second one, which is right in you all's lane, right? My mother actually taught me about budgeting your paycheck, right? So we live paycheck to paycheck, but my mother taught me how to do so. And how it came about is I asked her a question about why I can't get this now and why I can't do this. And she said, you want to know? Come here, let me show you. Take out a piece of paper. This is how much I make. This is how much I bring home. This is how much. And she went down the line and pretty much walked me through the process so I can understand her money. So it was that every other week where it would be a little bit extra. Every other paycheck is where she got the little extra, not every other week, every other paycheck. And then at one time, because she was in nursing, at one time, she had got paid on the 1st and the 15th of the month. Child, it was 1 through 15, and then 15 through 30. 1 through 15, we couldn't really do anything because that was mortgage time, rent time, what have you. The second part, it was like, okay, you can do a little bit. Me and my sister used to have to alternate on months of you get your shoes this time and you'll get your shoes the next month. And when she broke it down and understood and explained it to us, I understood the assignment, when to ask and when not to ask. So for you all, what were some of the life lessons that you learned from your mother?
Wow, those are some good lessons, Ladrine, that you shared with us. But for me and my mom, what comes to mind now, my mother, she was very silent. We struggled. We struggled, and I watched my mother struggle. My mother cleaned houses for a living, and I was the youngest of my siblings, so I was somewhat spoiled, whatever the case may be. I kind of got almost everything that I wanted in a sense, but I saw the struggle as far as with her working and whatnot. But the life lessons really that she taught me were kind of in actually just watching her and how she maneuvered and how she moved about.
Mm.
One of the biggest things that was very impactful for my mom was making sure that her kids, she took care of her children. And what I mean by took care of her children, you know, me being the youngest, my siblings, they were, you know, teens and young adults, but family were always supposed to be supportive of one another. And she always made sure that we stuck together. We were always around, you know, holidays and things of that nature. They were always there. A lot of the things is because of the fact that she cleaned houses. I think that's where I got my cleanliness from, in a sense, and organization, and as far as keeping things clean, and just watching her take, you know, a pillow, a simple pillow, and because of the fact that she couldn't go and purchase different pillows and things of that nature, buying fabric and redoing it for different seasons and things of that nature. So a lot of things that she taught me were just watching her move about and emulate. And then when it got into the latter portion, when I became a teenager, some of the things that she would tell me, she was very strict. So you had the opportunity to go to the Go-Go's. I didn't have that opportunity at all. I couldn't go anywhere down in Florida. I had to be at home. But you know, one of the things that she would say to me was that, Gal, she used to call me Gal, friends you will only have on one hand. And I am one of them. So be careful who you call friends and who you hang around, because everyone will not be your friends. And I take this to the point of today, to be honest with you, in my adulthood, the circle is very small. I'm a person that, you know, like to be around a lot of folks and, you know, chat and talk with them, but I'm very observant of who I share. And that's one of the things that really, really has stuck with me.
I love that. And one thing about you, Janice, you mentioned that your mother used to call you Gal. You say that a lot. You say that and you write that, right? You say that and you write that. So you definitely picked that up from her. And touche about the friends. I'll talk a little bit more from my standpoint about the friends when I get into the sayings. But yeah, your mother and my mother hung together on that friend aspect, because that's the message that we pretty much got as well. So great. So thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Sacagawea and Shanae, what about you two?
So for me, my mom was about like getting that education and making sure like she wasn't a lady who accepted average or mediocre. So just to let you know, because I don't know if you guys know this, but my in full name is Sacagawea Alejandria Shahias Fanning. So
Okay.
I was able to spell and pronounce all of that before even going to kindergarten, because the lesson was you had to make sure you knew how to spell and say your name before you could go outside and play. So I was literally, you know, the little rule paper that used to be the little tan paper with the little lines, the little dotted line.
Right.
She would make sure I stayed between the solid and hit the dotted line as well too, properly. So, and you know, me and my sister, we had to read so many books, you know, each summer while we were in out with summer. So for her, it was like making sure you do your very best. And also, she said she had kids, so she didn't have to do chores. So, you know, me and my sister were the ones who were like washing the clothes as soon as we got old enough, washing clothes, doing cutting the grass, washing the car, doing dishes. It's like, oh, she made sure we were self-sufficient, because she was like, you need to know these basic skills when you go out there on your own. So the stuff she made us do, we thought were normal. Like you go and you cut the grass, you know, when it's time, you go and do laundry, you clean the house, you know, and stuff like that. And it was just like, no, she never wanted us to have a limited mindset. Like it was nothing like that was limiting us of saying, because we were, you know, young Black females growing up in the South, where our town was literally segregated, where you had one race on one side and one race on another. She never wanted that to come to basically influence how we thought of ourselves and what we would be able to accomplish in life. So to me, that was the biggest lesson for me going forward, because I was in plenty of situations where I worked for the federal government. I was the only person who looked like me in the room. So it was like, you can't go in there with intimidation. You got to go in there saying that you're supposed to be at that table. Right. So because that was it. And she got that from her mom, because my grandmother used to basically tell us, like, because she cleaned houses, my grandmother did. And she was like, if you're going to, be a broom sweeper, you be the best broom sweeper they've ever seen. If you're going to be in a company, you be the best worker they've ever seen. Never limit yourself to what you deem or what has been told to you because of your skin color and your sex, that you're only going to do this in life. So to me, that has propelled me to do all kinds of things, travel all over the world, and experience so many things in my life because of that mindset that was instilled at a young age.
I absolutely love that. And as you were talking, it just made me think of my mom like so much. And here's a different contrasting view that from her. I was very brilliant as a child. I was. My teachers, everyone, I was very brilliant. And I was an extra credit type of girl. I loved doing work. And I played with kids, but I hung with adults. I was the only one that can be at the table of getting that and gaining that wisdom. Here's the one thing though. In true transparency, I think that if my mom had pushed me harder, that I would have probably been a little bit even more harder, although I was all into my education. I got multiple masters and that sort of thing. But my mother always would tell me, balance yourself out. Don't overwork yourself. Like, calm down. Enjoy as well. Mm-hmm. And even as a grown-up, she will always tell me, you work so hard, balance yourself out. And I'd be like, Mom, you see me now? Like, my mom used to be my traveling partner as well. So she would see me, we would be on traveling, and I might do a little something or do something, and she would be like, you working? I would be like, but I'm playing. Like, this work can help us play. But just to point out, I appreciate, like Dr. Jawid saying that, but also it made me really go into thinking in terms of my mother, how I'm able to balance, like right now, with no problem at all. I'm very well balanced, and I know I can work hard, but a girl know how to play as well. So appreciate the different views from the different parents. Shanae, how about you?
So for me, I was actually truly blessed in my childhood, because in the house I grew up with, it was me, my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, and my great-grandfather. So I learned from so many generations. My great-grandfather lived until I was 10. My great-grandmother lived until I was 20. And my grandmother just passed away, like almost 3 years ago. Well, 3 years ago. So I slept in the bed with my grandmother. Even though I eventually had my own room, I had to sleep with my grandmother. And I actually stayed in the bed with her until I was 18, right? And so a lot of stuff that I learned from my grandmother. And so here I'm going to go through them really, really quick. 6 of the lessons that I really learned from my grandmother, right? The first one was early to rise. Get stuff done. Don't let the day get away from you. Once my grandmother retired for the second time, by 12 o'clock, she had been up, cooked breakfast, went to the store, went to Walmart, food on, dinner done, by 4 o'clock. She didn't let her day get away from her, right? And that's the second thing. Dinner was done by 6 o'clock, no later than we ate. Dishes were clean, kitchen was shut down. It was, she did not procrastinate, right? The third lesson I learned from her was having weekly and Saturday chores. So I knew every Saturday what my chores were. They were to clean the bathroom, and we had wood steps. I had to sweep down the steps because we had a German Shepherd that shed a lot. So I had to sweep down the steps, get the dog hair out of the corners. I actually had to do that on Wednesdays and Saturdays. But Saturday was the day that after I swept down the steps, I took the rag, the dust rag, put the liquid pledge on it, and shined each and every step every Saturday, right? The next thing I learned from her was the importance of having winter curtains versus spring and summer curtains. I hated it, but I understand the importance of it now. That's something that we did. We're going down the basement. It's time to get out the winter curtains. What's the difference, Nana? They're just curtains. No, they are not. They are lined. They keep the heat
in. Yeah.
So forth and so on. When it came time for, and my grandmother was a seamstress, so a lot of times she would go and she would purchase the fabric with the lining and everything and sew out curtains. I got stuck so many times from sticking those curtain rod pins up in, right? And in the summertime, it's time to wash the curtains, or in the spring, getting ready, time to go down the basement, because everything smelled like mothballs. Time to go down, wash them, hang them out on the line, iron them, and everything else. Now, we did all of that when we took them down for the winter to put them away, but we had to do it when it was time to bring it back out, right? The next thing I learned from her, the fifth thing was bill time. Every month when she sat down to pay her bills, we sat at the ironing board. She would write out all of her bills. She would balance her checkbook. At that time, they were sending you back your canceled checks. You didn't have to pay for them. It wasn't nothing extra. You couldn't look it up online, right? And then when those checks came in, we checked them off one by one. This was done. This was done. This was paid. That was paid, right? She taught me the importance. And I didn't understand the importance of all of that stuff, but I so understand it and appreciate it now, right? The most important thing that she has taught me, and I wish I would have listened to this if I didn't listen to anything else. You are never too young to start training yourself and or your body. She brought me my first panty girdle at the age of 12. And I was like, Nana, what do I need this for? I'm skinny. I don't need a panty girdle. Every day, and my grandmother was fit. She didn't have an ounce of fat on her. But every day she wore a bra, her underwear, a full girdle, and support hose. Lord knows I wish I would have still been wearing that girdle she brought me at the age of 12. But those are the lessons that I learned living in a house, growing up with my mother, my grandmother, and my great-grandmother. And I'm so blessed by them in the fact that I really understand what it was that she instilled in me back then.
I absolutely love all of those things. And for me, my friends, I see the difference from, in most cases, of folks being raised by an age gap in who raised them, I should say. Like, for a grandmother, and we know grandmothers come at all different ages and you know that, but for the most part, a grandmother raising someone versus someone being raised by their mother, there were two different types of strictness, and there were different types of responsibilities and various things that you do. In a sense, just I've noticed that with some of my friends.
It was
like matter of factly or whatever, but I love that whole grandmother aspect in terms of keeping it orderly and the whole body thing. Like nobody told me that in terms of the body thing, but that's every day. Like your
every
body
day,
has no other choice but to adjust.
Every day.
Well, that's just like the modern day waist trainers that's out now.
And that's it. And you know what? Really quick, I'm gonna tell you a funny story. Like my grandmother, and she was no nonsense. My cousin's wife came to drop off their son so that him and my daughter could walk to school together. And she called me. She was like, I just left your house She was like, and your grandmother gave me a girdle. I was like, yeah. She was like, this is what happened. She was like, hi, Nana, I'm such and so. I'm dropping off my child. He's going to walk to school with Sakaya. She was like, I'm such and so's wife. She was like, oh, okay, well, how are you? And she was like, fine. And she was like, listen, are you wearing a girdle? She's on the front porch, and my grandmother's talking to her through the door. She was like, are you wearing a girdle? And she was like, no, I don't wear girdles. And Nana said, hold on. I'm going to go get you one. I have one upstairs that you could fit until you get your own. You cannot just be telling people, quote unquote, that they need a girdle. Like, well, she needed one.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing about the growing up with the older ones. They will just tell it like it is.
Like it is.
Soften and sugarcoating things. So let's do this, right? The sayings are hilarious as you start thinking about them. And it was so many. So I want us to spend like 10 minutes on this before we go to break. But it was just like so many. And actually, I'm willing to adjust the time for this one to be spent on more, because Table's turn can be a little bit quicker than that. But it was so many that I was going through. And as I was thinking through and writing them down, I sent them to my daughter, because I was like, do you have any more to add on? She just was cracking up laughing so hard that she couldn't even stop laughing. And she would see and remember like some of the things from that I got from my mother that I passed on. So what I did was, when I pulled them, I captured them kind of like into 4 categories: money, life, beatings, and threats. Yes, my mother like passed out some threats. And then I pulled some, I asked my cousin and some other people as well. So let's go through them and let's talk about life first, right? And this is open, all chime in. So I'm gonna start with the first one, and I think I'm gonna say this for everybody. Be back by the time them street lights come on. By the time the street lights come on, my mother didn't play. So here's the funniest story. And my cousin Sonda, we always kind of like grew up around each other, and for years we lived around on the same street. She would be so mad because we would have to go in the house at when the street lights came on. And although where we played at, we lived down the street. I mean, we lived like in the middle where you can see down the street each way. So no matter where we were, my mother would be like, she had her same message, her same tone as it was a song. Ronnie and Dree, time to come in the house. So everybody in our neighborhood would be like, so, and it wasn't a joke, like no procrastinating, no playing, because if you did, you were going to get embarrassed. It was just like straight up, you were straight up going to get embarrassed. So that was like my one that was off the top that I had to go with. So we'll just do like a couple rounds with this one. But my other one in terms of life, and I'm going to share this one for everybody. So y'all don't got to say this, and then I'll go on to my next one. A hard head makes a soft behind. So I kept on saying, me all logical. I was even logical as a kid. I was like, a hard head. I was going literally like a hard head make a soft behind. And I was like, I didn't relate that to beating, like a soft behind to beating, because I always squeeze when I got my butt beat to like prevent the work. So that was a hard one for me, but I got it like along the way. So let me jump into mine. Let me see which one I wanna pull. So I'll go into the friendship type thing. I used to always be like, it didn't matter how long I knew somebody or whatever. I would be like, my friend, I'm going to hang with my friend, or my friend this, can my friend come over at the house? She would be like, start asking questions. What's their mother name? What's their sibling name? What's their this and this and that? And I would be like, I don't know. I just met them. She'd be like, friends. Those are not your friends. Those are your associates. And I was like, dang. So this is what my mother used to tell me at a young one. And her saying was a life lesson. So now my friendship circle, hold on, is like this small right here. Can y'all see it? My friendship circle is that small. So appreciate those. So Janice, what about you? Life.
Oh my gosh. See, I don't. My mother passed away when I was what, 18,
Mm.
and I was the second generation of her kids. So I mean, she had me when she was 42. So I couldn't really go anywhere. I got ridiculed by the kids in the neighborhood because all I could do was just sit on my front porch or either play in my backyard, which was like fenced in or whatnot. So they used to always ridicule me. But one of the things that she would always, when it came to the friends scenario, if I would like want to have somebody come over eventually, she she would allow somebody to come, to play with or whatever. But after they would leave, and I'll be like, okay, good. So she won't let me go anywhere, but at least I can have some friends come over. So then I'll kind of be like, okay, Mike, can they spend the night? And it was like, no. And I'm like, you never let me have any kind of fun. What's the problem? Why can't I have any friends? And it was something where she had this discernment that she's like, that person means you no good, gal, and they fast. That was her main terminology for the girls.
Mm-hmm.
They fast. So I'm like, what is it? What you mean by they fast? I'm not. All I want to do is just have friends. But she could never go into more detail, and then it would just turn into no. But then later on in life, as the years came about, some of the stuff that she kind of already knew about an individual, it was true. And it's like she had this discernment. Yeah, she had a discernment where she could tell if an individual was not the right fit or someone who you need to be around. Um, and I could not understand it, but that was something that just really it bothered me a lot because it's like, everybody who I came up that I brought over that, oh, here's my friend, this is my friend, this is my friend, this is my new friend. She wasn't playing, she wasn't hearing that, she wasn't playing it, and she wasn't having it. So that's one of the things that really, even now to this day, um, I have to admit, I'm very cautious as to who I let in my circle. And a few times where I thought I was okay with allowing these individuals in, um, and it turned out the other way, it caused me to hold grudges and resentment for quite some time that I had to really grow out of. And that took years. And that was something that, I did not like the experiences in that aspect. But she was very right on point with that. And I feel like now I'm the same way. And I kind of had that with my daughter. I found myself being very old school in my raising of her. And yeah, some of the things, the people who she wanted to be around, especially when we relocated from Florida to Virginia. And I was like, nah, that's not the ones. Nah, you need to get some, no. What I saw in those individuals, it ended up, whereas, here again, I was just like my mom, right on point. So those are the things that I can remember that stuck, very, very much with me. But yeah, I couldn't go anywhere. So it was no lights out for me.
Right, you didn't even need the lights out because it was like with the lights out.
I was already in the house.
Yeah, but like we're gonna keep this moving, but I have to comment on that. Like seriously, like tears to my eyes on that one. My mother had like a discerning spirit, and it was not only to me and my sister, but my her grandkids, my kids, and the others as well, and other people around. Someone would come in and they would leave out, and she would be like, "It's something," and I would be like, "What? Prove it!" Like I'm a prove it type of person, and she would be like, "Mm." And it was something like somebody that I was friends with, like they was like my really close friend when I was younger. Just 2 years ago, not even two full years ago, something came back where they like terribly betrayed me, and I had no idea. And I had words with my mother, not like negative for me. I was a little bit scared of my mom, but it was like like, nah, my mother tripping on this one. My mother tripping on this one. And when it came back, I was like, so that one really like touched me. When you said that. But all right, come on, let's move on. Let's move on. But yeah, that one definitely like brought tears to my eyes. Yeah. So Saka, Joanne, Shanae, how about you two?
Well, for me, it's like my mom would always like, you know, growing up, she would always look out for, you know, people who were the kids who weren't treated the best in the neighborhood, because we had certain kids in the neighborhood who the mom was going through some hard times. So she couldn't always have something for the kids. You know, sometimes they wouldn't even have a meal, you know, and it was like 2 or 3 of them. So my mom would always make sure when we had cookouts that they were there, when we had parties, they were there. And she always made sure, like, to tell me, make sure that you look out for so-and-so, you know, because you don't know, you know, sometimes people need, you know, someone just to talk to, because they were picked on and everything like that, because sometimes they didn't have the best clothes and the best care. And so they were getting it hit, you know, from all sides, like other kids picking on them, you know, not feeling the best when they were at home because they didn't have everything. So by my mom doing that, and me being friends with them, I'm like, okay, cool. Because, I mean, they were good kids, you know. It was just, she was like, don't always judge people by what they have and what they, you know, and what they may appear to be. Always try to take the time to get to know them as people. And so that those kids, you know, the one girl who was like my age, we were in the same class and everything. And I would treat her the same at home and at school. I was always be there for her. And I remember one day somebody tried to start something with me. One of these chicks tried to start something with me. And I was a nerd. You know, it didn't get to me. I was just like, whatever, because they weren't my friends. And the girl who my mom looked after, you know, because her mom wasn't, you know, they were one of the kids. She said, she's my friend. And so if you try to start something with her, you start something with me.
Okay.
So I would advise you to keep going about your business. So, you know what I mean? When you got true friendships and you really look out for each other, that's how people roll with you.
Yes.
So.
Yes. All right, Shanae.
So for me, I'm going to say this one saying that has always stuck with me, that I went to my grandmother about an issue that I had, actually not with a friend, but with my first cousin, right? And I told Nana about the incident, and this is what she said. So you gals being from the South, tell me if you know what it means, and then I'm gonna let you know. But when I told her what happened, she was like, Pam, a cow don't realize how important their tail is until a fly comes.
Look, Jane is deep in the country.
You know what it means, Janice?
I ain't heard that one. I'm sorry.
I ain't never heard that.
So basically, what happened is my cousin Pam, right? I would, you know, at the time she didn't have a car, she wasn't driving. I would go pick her up from work. I would do her hair for free. I would do this, we would do that, we would do that. And it was a time at her house. I was living, at this time, I was living at a place and I didn't have a wash machine and dryer. And I was like, you know, yo, let me come and wash my clothes at your house. And she was like, no, I don't really do that. Like, no, this, that, whatever. And I got offended because I'm like, I don't ask you for gas money. I don't ask you for this. I don't, you know, whatever. And I was upset. And so I went and told Nana. And that's when she said, she was like, Pam, a cow don't realize how important their tail is until a fly comes. Basically, the cow uses their tail to flock the flies off of their bodies because flies bite you. You don't realize how important a person is until you need them. So for my first cousin, who I did so much for, and for her to tell me, no, I couldn't come up her house and wash clothes, basically it was saying, don't bite the hand that feed you. Your cousin is there for you all the time, no matter what. And you gonna tell her no, she can't wash her clothes at your house? So that was like one of the country sayings that my grandmother, you know what I'm saying? And it just still sticks with me when, you know, when things like that happen or whatever. And like you said, you keep your circle tight with friends. And sometimes to a degree, it ain't even friends that you gotta watch out for, honey. Sometimes it's the ones that carry the same last name as you. So
that's
Amen.
yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. 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 So we went all rounds, right? I got excited. James got me a little emotional. I had to get off and give you some tips.
Oh Lord.
That was my mother. That was my mother.
Yeah.
And shout out to Tiffany Butler and Major who are online. Tiffany Butler. So I had shared, like, she was a co-worker of mine, FBA, who her mom transitioned like a month or actually a couple weeks after my mom did. So she said mine did too. She had a discerning eye and never failed to let me know the real deal. Miss my mom.
Remember, she said that might happen.
Ronnie and Dream, that whole little line, like my mother did not play, like for sure. But and I knew Major Mother. Major Mother ain't play either. That was probably one of the mothers on the street that I was scared of. Miss Sadie, may she rest in their soul rest in peace as well. So I'm just gonna go over a couple of ones, and then you all be thinking of one to close out that round. Then we're gonna do tables turn and tributes to our mom. So a couple other that like pull as we were going through, and I will say money for last for you all. But it was stop all that crying before I give you something to cry about. I was like, you already hollered at me and hurt my feelings. That's why I'm crying. Like that was enough to cry about. I was so analytical as a kid. You're smelling yourself. It took me a long time to understand that. My aunt used to say that to my cousin, and I used to be like, she stink. I was so little nerd. Of course, who you think you're talking to? Mm-hmm. Nobody, no ma'am, nobody. Mm-hmm. I'm not your friends. Like I would knock your head off. I'm not your friends, and I would knock the taste out of your mouth. Mm-hmm. Or beatings. I brought you into this world. Mm-hmm. I will take you out. Mm-hmm. And it was like, say it again. Go ahead, say it again. And it was like I wasn't playing. And a lot of these things I saw down on my sister. My sister was the bad one. It's like, Ronnie, I'm playing recipes. But like my mother did not play. A couple other ones. If you keep, she used to be like, if we frown, she'd be like, if you keep making your face like that, it's going to get stuck. Mm-hmm. You get treated like an adult when you start acting like an adult. Like even in terms of our transition of age, you better know that schoolwork the same way you know them songs. I used to be in a talent show sometimes, but I knew my schoolwork. But she used to say that. Church clothes, I know, and I pulled this one from the internet, like, because I knew better. I know that ain't my child all over the floor in their church clothes. Parents ain't making them church clothes. And the last one, I don't have to do nothing. I don't have to do nothing for you. I don't have to do anything in life but to stay black and die. That was like that whole little one. So what are some other ones, like in terms of what your parents told you? And then we're going to talk about tables turn and trips. Oh, I got to say this one. Always tell the truth. The truth will set you free. And because I said so. Oh my God! Like why? Because I said so. And then do as I say, not as I do. So, what are like one or two that you want to round out this the sayings that your mothers or grandmothers said to you, James?
Only thing I used to think about was when grown folks came over, she always used to tell me to go outside on the back porch. Go out on the back porch. And you don't need to be around here when grown folks talking. You don't be in grown folks' business. She used to always say something like that. That's
Yep. Shanae, I saw that finger up.
So I had one, but this is two. For like the first month or so, it was always change your school clothes, put on your play clothes, change your school shoes, don't go out there messing that up, change your church shoes. But also one that I used to get all the time was don't write a check that you can't cash. And I used to be like, huh? Like, I didn't get it. I was just like, okay, like, all right, whatever.
That's so funny. So I didn't learn that from my mother, right? My mother was saved, and sanctified. It's like my mother, I think I probably heard my mother cuss like 4 times in my entire life.
Get out.
Yeah, but I learned that from my sister in older age. And so my sister was like, I could intellectually, like if we were arguing with other people, if it was breaking them down intellectually, that was me. I had the good words to get to somebody and dig in. But my sister had the comical one. When she said that thing, I was like, oh my God, that was so hilarious. And she had a way of saying her stuff. So I got that one from my sister. And I thought that was so slick out the mouth. I love how she said that. So yeah. Satsui, how about you?
I don't think I have anything. Y'all done said all the universal black sayings.
Right, respect your elders. How did y'all get any about the TV?
With thunder and lightning, turn it off. Turn off the TV and the thunder and lightning.
Correct.
Oh my God, thunder and lightning. We used to be like this. We didn't move, we didn't do anything.
You couldn't breathe. You breathe wrong.
It's like, okay, y'all keep on. I used to be in my room quiet as a mouse. Yeah. Like it wasn't any joke.
All the lights were out and everything. It was pitch dark during the storm, lightning storm. It'll be like.
Yeah, I think we pretty much touched like some of it because I had like a whole list of them. I wanted to make sure it wasn't no really, really like good one. Tiffany said my mother used to say 2 queens can't reign in the same house.
I know that's right.
She was the queen. Yes, Tiffany, yes. And Major said that his mother used to say, you better find somebody else to play with. Man.
Well, how about turn off the light? What was it? I'm not heating or I'm not air conditioning, cooling off the outside. I'm not heating the outside. Shut my door. You gonna run out my gas and electric, all that type of stuff.
Yes. And the refrigerator open. And in South Carolina, it was the screen door.
Yeah.
Keep the screen door closed and don't slam it. So all right, so those were really good. But we could go all day with those. But those are so funny and hilarious when you start thinking about the stuff that our parents said to us in the whole little saying. And one, I gotta shout out like Reverend A. Colette, right? She got this book called Wits and Wisdom. And it had all of these sayings that her parents taught her that she put in this book. And I have to tell you, she's my friend, she used to like talk and I was like, she's talking in code, but half the time I didn't understand what it meant or what it was. So reading her book, it would like make me laugh and crack up. And this show made me go back to think of all the different things. And even the things we say now, to our kids, but most of them we got from, our folks back then. So it was a thing. Tiffany said, yes, she used to say, this ain't no swinging door. Yeah. So let's do this. We're not going to actually go to commercial. I'm going to talk through some things, and then we're going to pick up on the tables turn, which is just quickly going through like our parents. We're our parents, and they did certain things for us, and then the tables turn, we were doing them for them. And then we're going to close out with the tribute. So I definitely want to thank everyone for tuning in. Thanks, everyone. Continue to follow us on all social media platforms. We are Let's Do It Talk Show on Instagram. That's our Facebook group as well as our YouTube channel. We're looking to do a little bit of revamping. We were supposed to do it last year, but y'all know what my life has been. So I'm ready to get back into it, looking forward to it. We got a couple things that's coming up in June, so real excited about what's going on. A couple other notices that I must say, the We All Grieve Differently. the book project, when the book came out last year, we were not able to celebrate it in person because of the pandemic. So we're on the 1 year anniversary. Mother's Day just passed. The book is in honor of mothers who transitioned, our mothers. Latasha Briscoe and I are the co-visionaries. So exciting news. We are cover page for Inspire Christian Magazine, which releases this Wednesday for a special edition. We're having our event on Saturday. Our event starts at 6:30. It's free. You can go on Eventbrite and look up Cupcakes and Conversations or Latasha Briscoe. We're gonna have a good time. It's not gonna be conversations just talking about grief. Y'all, if y'all ever attended one of my conversation parties, then you already know what it's gonna be. We're gonna be talking about a little bit of everything, but we wanted to honor the ladies in person so that we can celebrate the book, which has done phenomenal. #1 Amazon bestseller, but more importantly, has been blessing people heart and soul. Blessing people heart and soul. And of course, the follow-up to that is my personal project, my journal. We all heal differently, which is a prompted journal, information, resources, just pretty much guiding what I went through throughout my journey. And as you all know, God comforted me in a mighty way. So Inspire Magazine, we are going to have a blast on Wednesday. We are going to roll out. We got a video promo and some other things that are coming up. So excited about that. Looking forward to having that come through. And then in June, I got a special. So I'm on the cover, and then we have like so many different things that are going on with our spread for Let's Do It talk show, new pictures, new everything coming through. So ladies, I'm so excited about that. So let's go ahead and jump back into our discussion and have some more dialogue. So one that it was we want to talk about the next topic of Tables Turn. So Dr. Juliet, I start off with you.
Okay. With Tables Turn? Okay. So for me, it was like, it's like mainly, things that our parents did for us and now we're doing for them. So for me, it was like, your parents always made sure that you got your little spending money and everything like that, but you got to earn it. Well, I always make sure that I'm saying, send a little something to my mom just to make sure she has something and everything, because she's in retirement, but she doesn't have to do anything for it. So it's like always been giving her this little thing or sending her this. It's just making sure that she always has something that she needs and everything, because she did sacrifices and stuff for me and my sis when we were growing up. And I just want to make sure she doesn't have to worry about stuff. So that's really just taking care of her. Because, you do. I understand what a blessing it is to still have my mom. So I always try to make sure she knows that.
Right.
Amen.
Right. So just take a moment. Come on. Everybody say hi to Cousin Bob as she passes by.
Oh, you let her. Yay.
So yes. Other things, so Shanae, what about you in terms of like the tables being turned? And it's so funny because now as I'm early into my 50s, we are in our 50s, most of us, in our 50s. I said most. I feel it. I feel the flipping of things. So, Shanae, what about you?
So for me, for my tables turned, it is heart-touching, and it was actually an honor, but I'm going to talk about some of the funny stuff. So from 2014 to 2019, my grandmother came to live with me. I actually brought her in to live with me. She suffered from Alzheimer's and dementia, and it was truly my honor to be able to give back to her like that, because like I said, I slept with my grandmother until I was 18. My first house that I ever bought, my grandmother put it in her name. Like, she sold my senior prom dress. Like, it was just me and my nana. Even though my mother was in the house with us, we were there. My mother was the fun parent, and my grandmother was like, you know, the person that instilled, right? And so I love my grandmother to life. And so with dementia, it is really, it's hard for the person, but it's hard for the caregiver too, because you don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to happen. And so some of the things that like I went through, one of the things like with people who suffer from dementia and Alzheimer's, I found out is that they become nocturnal. So they sleep all day and they're up all night. So at this point, I was fully employed, you know, with T. Rowe Price, and I would have to get up at like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, get my son together, get me together, take him to school, and so forth and so on. And my grandmother would be up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, I never forget. Gerald came in one day, he went to the bathroom, he was like, yo, get up. And I was like, what? He was like, yo, Nana is in the kitchen, she took out all the meat, she defrosted everything. And I was like, what? And I went in the kitchen, and she just sitting there watching TV. And I was like, Nana, she was like, oh, where'd you come from? I was cooking dinner, because to her it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like, you know, when she died laughing, and I'm like, sis, it is 3 o'clock in the morning. I gotta get up in 3 hours. You know, I got all my frozen meats out, like defrosting them, like, dear God, just give me the strength. And so I find the humor in it, because it can be overwhelming, and you know, it can wear you down if you let it. Another time, Gerald called me, and he was like, where are you? And I was like, I'm at work. I'll be leaving here like a half an hour. He was like, yo, Nana is frying chicken. And I'm like, what? And he was like, yo, get here. And I was like, well, what you say to her? He was like, yo, that's Nana. I'm not saying nothing to her. Like, nothing. And so I came in, and like, she had fried chicken and made her sweet potatoes and everything. But it was like the stuff that we went through, and it was like, dear God, just give me the strength. Like, keep my composure, keep me happy, keep me positive, keep me uplifted. Like, this is my Nana. I love her to life. Like, it was truly an honor, you know, to be able to take care of her for the last 5 years of her life. And when she passed, my office it was actually her room. So she actually passed in this room. And I knew that she was going because she had stopped drinking and stopped eating. But the thing she said to me before she couldn't do anything was, she looked at me. This is my Nana. Can y'all see?
Beautiful.
Y'all can't really see.
Yeah.
She looked at me, and she was like, thank you.
Mm.
And so that's all I needed. But like, those 5 years was just like, it was some of the most trying times, but I wouldn't trade them for the world. Like, they meant everything to me. So, you know, being able to take care of her the way that she took care of me was a blessing beyond.
Hey, y'all trying to mess me up. So, like, all right, Janice, you go next.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
That was really amazing. I'm probably going to get teary-eyed with this, because Mother's Day is still very hard for me.
Yeah.
And I love the older generation.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is, I get a little jealous when I see folks with their mothers and their dads, and because I didn't experience that. You know, father left here when I was 15, and my mom at 18. So I wish I had more time, of course, with them, but I really, really enjoy the senior population, and taking time with them. And just hearing stories and things. And, you know, although I was not blessed with my parents, I had my father, he was one of 11. So I had my aunts and uncles, and they lived to be in their 80s and whatnot. And my mother's sisters, my aunt actually, that looked just like my mom, She just passed away last year, and she lived to be 90.
Mhm.
So I was able to have relationships, with them. And I don't know, I think for me, all the things that my mother instilled in me, especially with raising children, and again, she was not so verbal. She was a quiet storm in a sense, but I found myself emulating a lot of the things, and I learned so much just by being in her presence and not understanding her strictness back then, but with raising and becoming a mother myself and the sacrifices. I definitely understood that when I became a mom. So, yeah, Clarice Miller Phoenix.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I'm gonna get through this one right here, and then we're gonna go to the whole tribute of just saying.
I didn't know this topic was gonna do that.
You know, I didn't when I was writing it out and sent it. I definitely didn't think so, but it's the emotions, and I appreciate you all being transparent and tears. However, they're coming very weirdly of the slowness of it. They're actually healing moments for me. So it's okay. Y'all know I grab my tissue.
Y'all crying. Look, y'all crying the most of the little topic I suggest. That's why I'm just sitting here like, oh no.
It's okay.
It's cleansing though.
Okay.
Yeah, it
So
is.
mine is definitely a three-legged stool.
Okay.
Finances, ha ha ha. It's like no, but no pun intended. Caring for my mother, budgeting for my mother, and then being able to cook where I never knew how to cook in my life. So just grateful of the opportunity to cook meals for my mother. Like, and y'all know I didn't start cooking till April of the pandemic, but I would cook my mom food. Every time I cook, I would take my mom the food, and she would really critique it, and she loved my food. So that cooking thing is very emotional for me. Even as I was doing the Cooking Chronicles, it took me a long time after my mom transitioned to pick back up and actually start doing so. So on my daughter's birthday, April 14th, my mom always cooked the cake for all of us on our birthday and gave us a card with the age, whatever age we were, we got a card. And then for me, not everybody, she would cook me my favorite meal as well. So just being able to cook that meal, and before I got home, when I cooked her the lamb chops, she was like, "Oh my God, these lamb chops are delicious." So the cooking thing, the caring for my mom, taking care, and I had like this whole issue with sickness, so it was very challenging for me to see my very strong mother when she first admitted to me, like, I don't feel like 100%. And this was like days before she passed away. Like, I felt something. I've seen my mother gone through so many different things, surgery, so many different things. So being able to care for my mom, being able, just me helping her, holding her, touching her, just was like a blessing for me, and how it ended up happening, how everything happened. I thank God for those latter days of me being close with my mom. And then the last one was budgeting. Like, my mom taught me how to budget, and then she trusted me with like everything. When she had got a settlement, I did everything for her. And just having my mom with me. So, all right, we're gonna stop right there. Good God, good God, good God, good God. So we're gonna stop right there, and we're gonna go to the tribute. So in terms of the tributes, please definitely share. Shaka Jawil, let's start with you since you started off. It's like I'm playing.
I know, right? You took me off the topic.
let's start with you in terms of the tribute and like the closing tribute or the closing memory, whatever it is that you want to say and share about your mommy.
My mom, well, I was going to try to relieve the situation with a funny story from like childhood about me and my sis, like the one about the street light. I got a little twist on it.
Okay.
So literally, me and my sister were at my grandmother's house, and then our friends were down the road at another house, but you have to go over a hill to get to it. So we told, because we could never leave the yard unless we tell our grandma where we're going and everything like that. We're like, hey, grandma, you know, we got from school and everything. We had did our homework and everything. And we're like, grandma, we're going to ride our bicycles down the street to Sherry's house. And we looking at her like in her eyes. And she like, okay. And she cooking. She was like, all right, cool. She's like, y'all go play for a while and then y'all come on home because I'm cooking dinner. So y'all come back and eat. And we like, cool. And my sister got on our little bicycle. We go down to Sherry's house. We have fun. We play and everything. Man, we roll back on our bicycles back to my grandma's house. Man, it's like 2-3 cop cars in her. She was like, and then the cop was like, there they are. And we like, what? They're like, are y'all okay? What's going on? You pick up. My grandma called my mama and said we were missing. She didn't know where we were.
Oh my goodness.
And we like, grandma, we told you we were going down to Sherry's house. She's like, no, you didn't. She was like, yeah, we did. And we said, and my mom was like, don't argue with your grandma. You didn't tell her. Man, we got our butts whooped that evening. She had called the cops. She put out a missing child report. They were scouring the neighborhoods. They had the dogs and everything. They thought we got kidnapped. Man.
Not the dogs. Oh my God. That definitely is funny. That's definitely
yeah. So that was, so we had to make sure every time we like, look, we going now. So you write it down that we going to go play.
Promissory note. We promise to return. We are leaving contract.
So yeah, no. That was, I mean,
thank you for sharing that one. And what's your mommy's name? And then close out by sharing your social media and how people can connect with you.
Oh, so my mom is Loretta. Hello, Loretta Fanning. And I can be reached on Facebook at Sacagawea Fanning or Fanning Financial Group LLC on Facebook, and also Instagram. You can look up Sacagawea Fanning, and also I'm on LinkedIn, Sacagawea Fanning. So yes, and I'll put my information in the comments. Thank you
so much. Okay. Bose, you want to go next?
Yes. Wow, that was good, Sacagawea. I like that. That was funny. I'm trying to think of something. I was such a heifer. Oh, that's another thing. She used to call me heifer as well. Gal and heifer. I always get called.
Oh, my grandma.
Hussy.
I guess you could say this is kind of funny. So like I went to the prom my junior year, but I really wasn't supposed to go because the young man who was going to take me, he was supposed to come to my house and ask my mom, could he officially, take me to the prom? But everybody was scared of my mom because, she would never let me go anywhere or anything. So they thought she was so mean. So it was like, no, I'm not coming to ask your mom. I'm like, you have to ask my mama. But she wouldn't. So I wasn't supposed to go. Long story short, the day of the prom, I had my dress made and everything, told my girlfriend that I could come to her house. And I told her parents that my mother said it was okay for me to come to their house. The boys were going to pick us up from my girlfriend's house. But in order for me to get there that day, I stole my mother's car from her job.
Oh, Lord.
I had an extra set of keys made. Extra set of keys made. I somehow caught the bus to her job to get the car.
You were determined.
The car, had all my little stuff in there, went to the prom, and then that night it sunk in that when I got home I was going to be in trouble and I was going to be afraid. So yeah.
Oh,
when I got home.
Man,
now I'm beating you for your mother. That was like that, but that was definitely bold. But you got to the prom and you had
I got to the prom. Oh, I had some cute pictures too. Cute pictures. I was cute.
I guess it was worth it.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that. So
That is
rest
a
in peace,
cute
mommy. I miss you. I love you. I know you're here with me. Clarice Phoenix Miller. Yeah.
Amen. Amen. Shanae?
So growing up, I always called my mother Cookie, right? That was her nickname, Cookie. And so I never forget. And my mother had me when she was 18 years old. Me and my mother are the same like height, same shoe size. We was the same build until, metabolism stopped working for me. So she was always thin, and she always wore chick jeans. She had them in all flavors with the slit, you know what I'm saying? And she wore the candy shoes with the wooden heel, and I always wanted to be in them. So my mother looked, she was very, young. So I was in elementary school, and I never forget. She was coming to pick me up early from school. So I saw her going to the office, and I told my friends, I was like, there go my mother. There go my mother. I was like, Cookie, cook. And she was like, I'm going to the office. And they was like, who is that, your sister? I was like, no, that's my mother. And they was like, well, why do you call your mother Cookie? And I was like, I don't know. So I asked her. I said, because my mother's a Leo. She's very direct, right? And like y'all think my wit and whatever, Cookie was off the chain. And so I asked her, I said, well, Cookie, why do I call you Cookie and not Mommy? And she said, because my name is Cookie. Like, okay.
I mean, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. And so
you tell your little friends that.
That's it. She was like, because my name is Cookie. And I was like, okay. And so my mother, Cookie, Selma Alice Coates, I love you to life. I love you, love you, love you. My name is Shanae Robinson. I can be reached on social media platforms, Facebook and IG at Professional Credit Diva. You can contact me via my website where you can schedule your 30-minute complimentary consultation. There's a link there for that. And my website is theprofessionalcreditdiva.com. I also can be reached at 443-973-7555. I look forward to hearing from you guys. And this was awesome.
Yeah.
So great tributes. Like I love every funny story, every funny incident, and the love that y'all express. So love is my mother. So my mother's name is Martha Elizabeth Howard. And love, like how she loved me, it's still hard for me to be able to explain. And don't get me wrong, I know that my children love me, and they love me a lot, but it's something about my mother's love. And I have fond memories of even 4 years old and just being that child that I'm trying to tell y'all, my mother loved me, overly loved me. And y'all know a girl love herself. Like I love me some me, but it was just like my mother, even into my adulthood, she didn't want me. If Regina Bell's song, If I Could, like that was my mother for real. Anytime I went through something, whether it was a life lesson or whatever, my mother would want to take that pain away from me, and I could see her, I could feel her as she was talking through it. And growing up, my mother was this way all the time. I love my mother so much. When I was 4 years old. Like I remember vivid, like way back. I was 4 years old. We were living on Ridge Place. My mom, it was our room and my sister. The bathroom was in the middle, and then my mother room was right there. And I used to couldn't sleep. And I used to need to feel the warmth of my mom's skin in order for me to go to sleep. So I would go get in her bed, and she would be like, Dream, get out my bed and go in your bed. I would be like, okay. I would give it some time being there, woke, and thinking she sleep. Y'all, all the lights would be out, y'all. I would actually crawl and be like, she's not gonna be able to see me, and I would get halfway there. She was like, Dream, I see you. Like, man, she's like, go back in there. Then I'll come. Eventually, she would let me get there, and I just needed my leg to touch her, my arm to touch her, or something in terms of that. And it carried all the way through. And it was a eye-awakening, surprising. When I got into my 20s, I thought everybody mother loved them the same way. And to this day now, like, that's how I got peace with my mom. I started going through my mind of everything that she did for me. And I knew my mom was a superhero when I was in the third grade. My teacher told us whenever we get finished with our homework, whenever we finish with our work, we didn't have to do any additional work. We could just sit there and do whatever we wanted to do, or we can do some extra credit. I chose not to do anything, and I started playing with my glue. And you know how your glue get messed up and you peel the residue off of it to make it clean again? I was doing that. She came over and hit me on my hand. And I was like, why'd you do that? She was like, because why you not working? I'm like, I've been finished with my work. And she started making up some stuff against what she had already given us to do, because I finished my work like super fast. Y'all, you wasn't supposed to go home at recess, and I was going to Patterson for this year, Patterson Elementary School in D.C. I wasn't supposed to go for recess. I had my whole plan. I was a strategist way back then. I was like, as soon as recess go, I'm running out and go. The teachers are not going to be on guard yet. And it was like a little gate where we can get through and go. Y'all, I ran all the way home, got my mother. My mother came, and I don't know what my mother did to that teacher in there. The teacher came out crying. And then the next week, the teacher had got moved to teaching kindergarten. Y'all, I was like, I wish somebody would. And that was what I carried all along. I wish somebody would say something to me, because my mother and my sister
she was bad then. She was bad.
I know, right?
So the love and the protection and the care and everything that my mother gave to me,
Mm-hmm.
I missed it. Like it was even to the day of her passing. Mom, I'm that baby girl that's what my mother did. I was spoiled, rotten. Even if I did wrong, I ain't really do wrong. Somebody caused it on me, and I was like, "No, Mom did that." She was like, "No, what they do to you?" So I just closed out with saying, I am so just forever grateful for the level and in-depth level of love that my mother gave to me, that my mother showered to me, and just made me know that no matter what, everything was going to be all right. So when she transitioned and when she passed away, I knew that everything was going to be all right, because if she had one last prayer that she did, I bet you she prayed to God to tell him to make sure that I was okay. So, Martha Elizabeth Howard, I love you, love you, love you, love you. And thank you for loving me like beyond infinity, beyond infinity, beyond infinity. So, yeah, I should have let somebody else go first, but shout out to all the mommies. I'm the Dream, Howard Peterson. Y'all know how to reach me. We're not about to go through that spiel. I don't even have it left in me. So, thanks, everyone. Make sure you follow the show. Shanae, Janice, Saka Joanne, great show. Always a great deal. Great loving having you all on. Y'all already know we are more than co-hosts. We are sisters. So thank you so much for joining in. And thanks everyone for tuning in, especially Major and Tiffany. Thank you all for chiming in. We feel like y'all were right here in the room with us.
Thank you.
So looking forward to upcoming shows, trying to get myself together as I'm doing this. So upcoming shows, we're gonna have closing out this month. So y'all know I'm coming out with a new book, right? The Climb. The Climb is coming out, and it is about my 30-year climb in the federal government. So, my 30 years. So I have up until September, but June we about to rock this thing right here. So looking forward to that. So we're gonna be talking about that and have some discussions around leadership. Upcoming show, self is a full-time job. So I talked about my Reverend Rice earlier today. She's going to come on. She always talks about this in some profound way. So we're going to have a one-on-one dialogue about that. And by the way, shout out to Reverend Rice. Today is her birthday. So shout out to Reverend Rice.
Happy birthday.
Yes, and we're going to have Unshakable Faith, the anthology. So we'll have the authors coming on perhaps like later on, but they're launching a book on June 23rd with Minister Reverend Allison Daniels. So just last, as I close out the show, I'm going to continuously say this for all of the May birthdays. So Giovanni, my youngest daughter, she started in April, but then it kicks off in May. My oldest Apple, Amari, his birthday was May 2nd. Tomorrow is my Apple, Martisha's birthday. Shout out to her. She's on travel with her job. And then this Saturday is my youngest Apple, Avery's birthday. It don't even stop. It's so many others that intertwine with that. My cousin Monica's birthday was this weekend. Everybody's birthday is just a lot of May birthdays. So super excited around all of the activities. So I'm going to be here and there and doing a little bit. And next week, I promise y'all that I'm going to give y'all an overview and a breakdown of the Maxwell concert, the Joe.
We can't wait.
Some of the pictures. So yes. So thank you all so much for tuning in, and I'll see you all next week. Bye. Thank you, ladies. Love you all.